No excuses. We've come here to play football. Don't worry about the weather, the field. If we do things right, we're going to win the football game. If we don't, we'll lose. I like that, don't you?
I do, too. And that's the way it should be done. There is Chuck Knox, who in 2 years with the Rams has done one of the outstanding coaching jobs in football. 10-4 this year with his club. David Ray is teeing it up to kick it off for the Los Angeles Rams. Deep for Minnesota, Sam McConnell at the top of your picture, and Brent McClanahan is number 33. They say a last-minute word to each other before David Ray, looking into that bright sun at the other end of the field, will kick it off. And believe me, it will be a factor. You can see from that picture. The NFC Championship game of 1974 is about to get underway. Here comes David. Strong kick, soaring down to McClanahan at the 1. He'll bring it out. He's got a good hold. McClanahan all the way out to the 34-yard line. A hat is down. I don't know if that's the flag or not. One of the officials' hat went flying.
Yeah, I think
it an elbow pad.
I think it was it may have been both, right? But I don't believe it was a yellow flag, and that's what we're going to be looking for today. Good run back.
Excellent run back by Brent McClanahan. All the way out to the 33-yard line where Fran Tarkenton will take it over. There is the Minnesota offensive line, and it's an excellent one. Behind Tarkenton, Dave Osborne and the dangerous Chuck Foreman on 1st and 10. Osborne on the first play, straight ahead, gets good yardage. Right between Brooks and Olsen, stopped by Merlin Olsen.
Well, that time the Rams came up in an odd alignment, which put Brooks right on Mick Tingelhoff's nose. That should be an overmatch. But Mick did a pretty good job of cutting the big tackle there.
Talking to Bud Grant earlier, he said that Mick has really been doing a fine job with the men over his head, Tommy. In fact, he said he's probably been playing one of the best years he's had in the last 7.
And he's played for Eon, so it's just ahead.
13 years for Merlin Olsen. 2nd and 5 for Tarkenton and the Vikings now. Gilliam is split to the left. Lige is to the right. Nothing doing this time. That's a tough Ram defense. Stopped by Jack Reynolds, the middle linebacker.
The thing we have to be impressed with on the offensive line for the Vikings is their size. Eddie White at right guard, and he's moved over from the left guard. Eddie White is weighing 281, and Andy Mauer is about 275, the left guard. And so Tingelhoff at 240 can afford to survive in there with that kind of
Think about that matchup between Eddie White and Merlin Olsen. That's almost 600 pounds. Just the two men. That's the Los Angeles secondary. They've been maligned, but they were great last week. 3rd and 3 for Minnesota. Tarkenton sprinting out. Fires and finished for Foreman. No good. Foreman had gone in motion. The Ram defense holds him. Elmendorf on the coverage, and the Rams will have to punt. The Vikings will have to punt, I'm sorry.
I tell you, for a fellow that caught 53 passes, that's one he should have caught, John. As the quarterback, you'd have been a little bit irritated, wouldn't you?
Oh, I'd never get irritated at anybody, Tommy. Really, you know, if they drop them, they dropped them.
You could call them when you threw it to him, made him catch the next one.
That's right. You got to hit him right in numbers. The sun may have bothered him a little bit. It's coming over that angle. But I'm sure that he was confused a little bit, upset for himself, but he didn't touch the football.
This is Mike Eyeshide, back to punt for the Vikings. East for Los Angeles, Ferguson and Cullen Bryant. A low front that should be returned, if you can see it. Now away from it. A Minnesota roll inside the 10. Ferguson jumps on it at the 3.
I don't think Ferguson realized the ball did not hit a Ram. I think he thought it hit number 47. That was down there, Charlie Street, but I don't think the ball touched anybody.
I don't think it did either. Let's look again.
Ferguson had to make sure, though. Now watch the two players fall over one another, and Ferguson doesn't know if that ball is a live potato or not, and he's going to make sure.
That's a good play by Jim Ferguson because he didn't know. And, of course, if Minnesota had fallen on the ball, it would be their ball at the 4-yard line if somebody had touched it. He's not taking any chances, wisely so, but the Rams operate in a deep hole. Ferguson and McCutcheon are the setbacks behind James Harris. Ferguson outside the 5 and up close to the 10-yard line. The Rams intend to try to run. We know that.
They've got 2 tight ends in the game right now, which makes me really think they're going to try to run the ball. There's James Harris. Man on the spot, John.
Well, you got the ball down to your own goal line like that, Tom. You're going to have to play a little conservative. Last week we saw up here in St. Louis that St. Louis had the Vikings all the first half down their goal line. Of course, they played real conservative. And you have to, in order to get that, get a little bit of running room and a little bit of throwing room.
58 years of experience in that Ram offensive line to get Georgia. 4-yard pickup by Bertelson, so it's 2nd and 6. Bertelson again behind McCutcheon's block, and he's out close to a first down, but not quite. John Williams, too, out in front.
A lot of experience on that Ram football team. The funny thing about it, you know, they only have 2 rookies on it and 7 one-year men, first-year men. The rest of them are all real veterans, and the experience, the years of experience going through the whole 47 men is just about 4.8 years for each man, and that is a typical or an ideal kind of a football team, because normally it takes around 5 years for people to get to know each other and get around the game.
Tony Baker's in the game now, the short yardage man for the Los Angeles Rams.
That's 2 tight ends. It's 3rd and about a half yard for a very important first down for Los Angeles to get it out of the hole. McCutcheon or Baker will try. He broke 1 tackle, but he didn't get it. The Viking defense rises to the occasion, and the Rams will have to punt from their own goal line.
I think the big linebacker that's recovered, Roy Winston, makes a big difference. He is about the size of a defensive tackle playing linebacker, and it's also going to hurt, I think, James Harris on that rollout that he ran so well against the Redskins.
Winston certainly has the experience, and he's got a little help in that particular play from Jeff Seaman, who's playing a very fine middle guard for the Vikings all year long.
Sam McConnell is one of the men back deep for Minnesota. That's Mike First. Rand Hunter. Nate Wright is the other. Snap is good. Kick is good. First get a good one. Nate Wright to return. He takes it at his own 41, fumble, and heads down the sideline, goes out of bounds about the 46.
That ball doesn't dribble well. That was a rather scary punt return.
Not too much has happened so far. So with 11:05 left in the first period, the NFC Championship game, the score is 0-0. It'll be Minnesota ball at their own 44-yard line as Nate Wright fumbled that punt and finally stepped out of bounds. So Fran Tarkenton and his offensive unit have it for the 2nd time. 1st and 10. No scores yet. Tarkenton back to pass. Fryer's chasing him. He fires for 2 points, no good. That play had problems right from the very beginning.
Well, sometimes the bad fake can be a good fake, though. It really looked like it was a bad handoff, and the fake was pretty good, but looked to me like that Geddes just was all over Stu Voigt, the tight end.
Geddes involved in that coverage. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the National Football League is prohibited. It'll be 2nd and 10 now for Minnesota. A very, very tough defensive unit for the Rams. Phil Olsen replaces Fred Pryor now. Tarkenton back to pass. A fake again. He locks it out for Osborne. Picks off by Charlie Stoops. He dropped it. No, it is an interception.
Well, that ball was just overthrown. That time Osborne had no chance and waved at it. Let's take a look at it from the end zone. You're behind Tarkenton now. Takes inside the Foreman. Being chased by Brooks, and Johnny just missed him, huh?
He just overthrew the ball on it, and there's a defense that the Rams don't use too often. They're back into a double zone type of defense back there, and he threw right into the strength of the cover. Just overthrew him, and that's Charlie Stoops' 8th interception for the year.
So the Rams captured the first turnover of the game and got the ball in Minnesota territory. That's the 49. 1st and 10. Harris. There they had his McCutcheon, and he bangs away with effectiveness this time.
Well, that's what we thought would have to happen. If Tom Mack and Kenny Hymanson tie up Alan Page, number 88, who does do a lot of twisting and moving, there's an ability to run in there. I think the Dolphins probably proved that beyond a doubt last Super Bowl.
Well, the Rams love to run the football. In fact, they're the leader in the number of attempts for the season, 566 as far as rushing attempts are concerned.
McCutcheon got 6. It's 2nd and 4 for James Harris and his Ram offensive unit. McCutcheon moves to McCutcheon. He's outside and got the first down to almost the 35-yard line. Running well is Lawrence McCutcheon, who had over 1,000 during the regular season, stopped by Nate Wright.
You know, Pat, what I like about McCutcheon, or I would like if I was a defensive back, is that once he makes contact is when he really puts on the power. He's got speed, but after you make contact, he makes 4 or 5 yards after you think you've stuck him pretty good.
That's good block by Joe Schiavelli on Carl Eller as he looped behind the tackle and turned Eller to the inside, and a good cut by McCutcheon got the yard. 1st and 10. The ball's at the Minnesota 36. Harris fakes. He's going to throw on 1st down and fires. Complete to Bertelsen. Another 1st down. Good protection that time. Oh, they did it.
And a good call, Johnny. How about the call on this? Just sifting the back through under that zone.
Well, they're going right through the zone or safety zone, like we said earlier. Normally play it, and he just drops back there and just waits for Bertelsen. Bertelsen gets right in the dead area of the zone and just picks the ball up with Harris throwing to him very easily.
Well, what the heck doesn't Bertelsen do well? That's what gets me. He blocks like a guard.
Well, I think that McCutcheon knows that, and he certainly appreciates having Bertelsen back in there.
Another 1st down. 1st and 10 with 8:56 left now in the 1st period. Ball at the Minnesota 23, and McCutcheon will try it again. And again, he's got a good yardage on the second there, but the ball is loose, though. Minnesota gets it.
Minnesota's on the bottom. Now, Chevelli got a good trap block. Let's take a look at the good play and then the unfortunate end to it. There's Chevelli's block. McCutcheon, and the ball should leave right about there. It goes.
Linebacker Roy Winston got the credit for that fumbled recovery as the ball came loose from McCutcheon. Chuck Knox looking on with a little anguish at the moment. His team had a good chance. 1st and 10 for Minnesota at their own 20. Parkinson gives to Foreman, and he got back to the line of scrimmage and was lucky to get that.
Well, I'll tell you, that's quick reaction on the defensive line of scrimmage. In the last half of the game against the Redskins, the people that saw it, they saw Merlin Olsen and that entire group really come alive and eat up that line of scrimmage.
Merlin Olsen played one of the best games, certainly, of his outstanding career last Sunday against Washington.
You know, he irritates me. He looks younger now than he did 10 years ago.
He lost weight. He's down to 280. 2nd and 9. Foreman did get a yard. Gilliam comes in motion. Stoops comes with it. Harkinen is back. Outside it goes to Osborne. Geddes is the first man in. He takes him down. Good tackle. You know, he's developed into a fine linebacker. You don't hear too much about him. You hear about Robertson and Reynolds.
Well, Hacksaw in the middle has the power, and of course the other side, Isaiah, has the speed. But I'll tell you, Geddes might be a little combination of both. The threesome are about as good a unit as you can get back in the lineup, John. Huh?
Well, Geddes, I saw him in the lobby this morning and remarking the fact that he's not a very big boy, but he is tall and rangy, and he's got those long arms, which is kind of hard to get to his body when you're blocking him.
Did he look fast in the lobby this morning?
Didn't he?
He's in the game. Eddie McMillan, number 41. Geddes is out of the game at the moment. Parkin to the pass. He fires to Stu Voigt. Not quite a 1st down if it is complete, and I'm still not sure. Paul was behind Voigt just a little bit. He's developed into a good tight end.
I'm just looking at Fran Tarkinen. Out of about the first 5 passes he's thrown, 3 of those have been sort of thrown in a strange style.
You wouldn't think Fran was a little nervous. He's been in these games for the last 5 or 7 years, and that really shouldn't disturb him at all. He's going to be going to his backs, I would think, quite a bit. Foreman, of course, one of the leading receivers for the Vikings.
Here's Mike Eyeshide back to front for Minnesota. Last time the ball got away from the Rams safety, then it rolled inside the 5. Eyeshide doesn't hit this one very well. Here comes Cullen Bryant to field. He got it and held it. Dangerous play by Cullen Bryant. With 7 minutes and 11 seconds remaining in the first quarter, there's a timeout with the score: Los Angeles nothing, Minnesota nothing. Glad you're with us for the NFC Championship game between the Los Angeles Rams and the Minnesota Vikings. The winner of this one goes to the Super Bowl in New Orleans. $8,500 to the winner of this game, $5,500 to the loser. 1st and 10, Los Angeles. McCutcheon moves to the fullback spot. Bertelsen carries the ball for very, very little.
Good play by the middle linebacker, Jeff Seaman again, and boy, he plugged that in a hurry. A 1st down run. A lot of people thought that maybe the Rams would throw a little bit more on 1st down. Now let's take a look at it from right behind the defense. McCutcheon leads and handles Winston, and here comes Jeff Seaman. Well, I guess he actually stumbled over his own men, didn't he?
He certainly did.
Gary Sutherland was in there thrashing around. 2nd and 9. Bertelsen just got a yard on the 1st down carry. James Harris is the Los Angeles quarterback, and Lawrence McCutcheon is the ball carrier to the outside. He gets away from a couple of men. Flag is down on the play on the far side of the field.
Flag on the play. I think they might call Tom Mack for perhaps holding the cornerback on the outside. He got out in good position and didn't make good contact and might have had to grab something as he went by.
There's the referee, Tommy Bell, who always does such an outstanding job. And there's the preliminary signal that he's holding.
It's a bad place to be holding out there in front of God and everybody. They're going to hold you, better hold in the interior line where they can't see you too well.
Even worse to be holding in front of Tommy Bell.
Pat, you know, you mentioned that the winners of this game have received $8,500 and losers $5,500. I can imagine all the contracts, the way they've been signed the last few years, or some players down there who are taking a pay cut to play out there.
By the way, Carol Rosenblum Rosenblum's back in Los Angeles watching the Rams game, and we ought to tell him that the Rams lead the league in room service. They must have had 10,000 cheeseburgers in the last 2 days over there, you know?
Anytime you call, they said it'd be a 2-hour wait. They got to take care of the Rams first. Ball's on the 31-yard line of Los Angeles, and it's 2nd and 19. Let's see if Harris is going to fumble and put it up here. Going to run a draw play to McCutcheon. He got nothing. Carl Eller breaks around the ankle, along with Alan Page.
Let's see if they had a game on that time. The fellow took the inside. And you look right at the line of scrimmage. Page goes to the outside, and Marshall comes inside. They had a twist on with the in and tackle, right, John?
And they had it just the right time because they ran right into that draw coming up to the center there.
Here comes that goofy defensive setup for Minnesota now, where they have 14 men on the field. Now they have 13 as Winston leaves.
They'll call this a 5-6. Now, I have never heard a defense called a 5-6 before.
Now they leave on 3rd and long yardage, and this is probably the only time they'll do that. 3rd and 20. They're going to run it. Outside goes McCutcheon again. A flag is down.
I think we got a clip this time on the side end, perhaps. Klein might have clipped Wally Hilgenberg on the outside, or a holding job. Let's see if we can pick it up.
Be interesting here to see if the Vikings decline this penalty. The Rams would have to punt if they did, but sometimes it's awfully hard to refuse a major penalty like this.
He's taking the yardage, don't you, John?
Well, I think if it was a 15-yarder, I'd kind of push them back and make them take another shot at it.
Well, I think you agree. Penalty was called against tight end Bob Klein.
I saw him do it, boy. I can only see those tight ends.
You got the eyes of a cat, Brooks.
That's right. Feet of an elephant with the eyes of a cat.
3rd and 30.
Boy, what do you call on 3rd and 30 against that bunch?
The Rams get this first down, they'll win the game. James Harris has a tough order here. The Vikings have extra defensive people in the game. They just run it again with Ferguson. He gets away from Miller, but Steven takes him down hard. Well, Mike Burt comes in. Minnesota defensive unit gets a standing ovation. Mike Burt is the Ram punter, and in the first game between these two teams, Tommy, he did some job punting.
But he was doing that down into the coffin corner and kept the Vikes bottled up. Right now, he's going to have to go for distance, and I don't know if he's a distance punter or not.
Well, they should come out with some pretty good field position after this punt.
8 right, and then McConnell is deep. Line drive punt. McConnell will get it on the bounce. He'll have a chance to get up ahead of steam, but good coverage. Bob Stein on the tackle that time. Rams special teams and the Minnesota special teams are outstanding. On New Year's Day, Wednesday, January the 1st, CBS will bring you the Cotton Bowl game from Dallas. Penn State, the winner of the Lambert Trophy, is the best team in the East against Southwest Conference champion Baylor.
A lot of people think Baylor might knock off the Nittany Lions. They did beat Texas to get there, right?
They played very well during the year. Penn State is 9-2, Baylor 8-3, and that's on CBS, January 1st at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. 1st and 10 at the 40 for Minnesota. Osborne is wrapped up. Dave Osborne, the ball carrier.
The trouble with Osborne is he doesn't know when to drop there and stop.
Okay, Robertson
both teams have been running that ball on first down, Tom, but they really haven't opened it up too much. I guess they're going to stick primarily to that game plan and try to get the ground yardage before going to the air.
Now, let's see if we can get a shot of Fred Dreyer, the defensive right end for the Rams, and he might even be talking to his opponent across the line. We'll try to follow him this time.
Second and 10. Awesome again. This time he spins for about 3, and as Tommy said, he doesn't know when it's time to fall down. Here's Fred Dreyer.
All right, watch Dreyer now. Once in a while, he'll get down the line of scrimmage on defense and make the sound of a motorboat. A vroom noise like that. He's rather a free spirit, but I'll tell you, he's an all-out football player. Rather loose, wouldn't you say?
I'd be a little worried if I were at the bottom of the pile and heard a motorboat.
Dreyer really pursues well. One thing he's going to have to be conscious of is coming back on a reverse back to his side. I'm sure the Franny's just waiting for an opportunity to do that.
Minnesota runs that play very well, in fact, with John Gilliam. Osborne got 4, it's 3rd and 6, and Tarkenton will throw. Downfield deep intended for Lags, but he broke the pattern. And Tarkenton overthrew it, but that's the best pass he's thrown today.
Hey, he had pretty good pass protection, and it looked to me like Fran just heaved it. I don't believe he had any idea where Lash had come to yet. He didn't look away necessarily, but I didn't think he looked it over very well at all.
He should have put that ball down there into the in the hole, right as you see it there, but it just kind of overthrew it. Maybe he was kind of afraid of hanging in there, and so coming across the middle, picking it up.
Tarkenton is 2 out of 5 for just 8 yards. And Mike Eichheid in the game to punt for Minnesota. This time he hits a good one. Cullen Bryant will field it. He goes straight ahead and is wrapped up almost immediately. Leading the coverage was Sam McConnell, number 80. He made the first hit. Sellout crowd in Bloomington on just an absolutely perfect day for this time of year. What do you think so far, gentlemen?
Well, John Unitas is going to give us a clinic. Once in a while, we're going to go to this the big tube there and look at it and show some of the zone defenses, though. Keep watching, will you?
I've got my eye on it. We're going to have to find it's the right time, though, Tom.
So far, both teams have been so tight we can't point out too much. It's 1st and 10. The ball's at the 19, and Harris on first down will try to throw. Almost picked off by Wally Hilgenberg, and he had a clear field in front of him. Look at this.
I think Jim Marshall makes the young quarterback perhaps throw this too quickly. 70 ought to show up very quickly here for number 12. Well, he didn't really, but the ball was almost picked off, and that's a dangerous thing, a little straight out of the backfield, huh?
It sure was. If he could have just kind of lofted the ball a little bit downfield, if ever seen Jeff Simon there coming across, he'd have had 6 points, because there was no one else down in there, Tom. But as you said, that big rush got into it.
So it's 2nd and 10 now for Los Angeles. Both teams very, very conservative so far. This will be Bertelsen straight ahead. He's got good yardage. About 9 for Jim Bertelsen. From the end zone again.
This time the Vikings did a twist with the tackles inside. Now you're going to watch Sutherland go all the way to the right. And they cut off Alan Page in the middle. Mack buries him, and that's where Bertelsen came through the hole. If you stud and blitz, you do gamble a little bit on not getting cut off.
You can start all those loops like that. Sutherland, you saw, just take himself out of the play, and then supposed to fill that hole and cut off. That's when that becomes a dangerous maneuver. 3rd and 1. Two tight ends in the game, and here comes Bertelsen trying for the first down. He's got it, and much more. Good blocking by the middle of that Los Angeles line.
You know, during the season, 14 times Bertelsen got the short yardage call, and he made it 11 times. That is not much of a gamble, at least not this call. 2 tight ends, Curran and Klein, and great blocking by the interior of that Los Angeles Ram group, and they grade out pretty well every day.
A lot of experience, as we mentioned before, in the Ram offensive line. Almost 60 years, in fact, of NFL football. 1st and 10 for the Rams. Harris on first down, and this seems to become a pattern. Fires intended for Lance Rensel. Harold Jackson was crossing deep. The ball was thrown poorly.
Lance was open coming across there, Tom. He was just a little bit low and in front of him too far.
I had a feeling that Mr. Eller and Page shook hands with James Harris on this. I have a feeling they got awfully close to the quarterback. John, can you hear those feet hitting the turf on a natural turf like this?
Well, but you have that sixth sense where you sure can't feel them. I know that. You get a lot of pressure in there, and you know just about when to get out or get rid of that football. If you start looking at those linemen coming in at you, you're not going to really get the job done.
Second and 10 for James Harris. Takes brought him a catching. Deep cuts a little Jackson, nobody around. He can get up and go, and he does. He's hit down by Jeff Seaman. He was wide open. That's the same pattern they called the Renzel.
Oh, now this time they ran the under pattern. They let Jack Snow go straight up and clear out and brought one of the fastest receivers ever, I guess, huh?
In Harold Jackson.
Right. He'll come from right to left on your screen, and when he comes, he might be a blur. He can run the 40 in less than 4.3. I don't have to tell you how fast that is.
Say that James Harris, if you want a lesson in how you should throw, here's the classic motion. We got a first down with that completion inside Viking territory at the 41. See if he throws on first down again. Nope, he brings it back in a touchdown. And he should have done it. He's hit by Winston almost immediately.
Sutherland, the big tackle, also made good contact. It looked like a little counter-delay trapper. I don't know if I'm getting too involved in something, but it looked like a delay play, or what they might call a misdirection.
Well, they tried to get the middle guard moving one way and then come back against the grain, and Sutherland was sitting right in there waiting for him, and he welcomed them to Viking land this afternoon.
We only got a yard. Chuck Dock is calling all the plays. Fran Tarkenton getting a little help there from his friends up in the booth. Harris back. Miller. He got it. Nobody around, and that's going to be intentional grounding.
He tried to throw the ball to Kenny Ivan, and the offensive center looked around like he's never seen it before.
Kenny said, I don't want it. Big rush from Carl Eller is what caused that. Watch number 81.
All right, Eller beats Williams, who's, by the way, a very solid tackle. He just gets the outside and runs over him. Now, this one time, the great strength of a young quarterback got him in trouble, John, didn't it?
Yeah, he stayed right up in there and then decided to throw the football. He probably just should have eaten the football right at that time. And Eller put on a real good rush, and that, by the way, is probably the first time since, well, last week. No, not since last week. They didn't even get to Harris last week in Washington.
And also loses a down, which is really important now for the Rams.
It puts him in a real bad situation here now. He's probably just going to come out with a draw or screen possibly, and just, try to control the football and then try to punt it out of bounds.
You know what Eller's nickname is? They call him Moose.
I can well understand. It's third and 23. That did cost the Rams a loss of a down as well as the yardage. Draw or screen? No, he's going to throw. Yeah. Firing deep intended for Renzel. Intercepted by the extra defensive back that's in the game. Number 29 is Randy Podal. Randy Podal, the rookie, came up with that interception. Harris again threw that ball under heavy pressure.
And the trouble is, he shouldn't have thrown the ball at all. Now, the safety man, Podal, the young man, played it perfectly. He laid off and let the throw go ahead and take place. Now, watch him for the right part of your screen. You'll see the free man that has no responsibility come right on over.
I think he just got a little excited back in there, Pat, that, he just kind of looked like he was hesitating back there, and he decided to get rid of the football, but he didn't want it.
That's the end of the first quarter with the score, Los Angeles nothing, Minnesota nothing. Hope to use a public service by the National Football League. First and 10, excuse me, Tony.
And nobody scored on the Rams in the first game, at least on a touchdown all season long, and it's still holding it.
That's right. And only 2 field goals have been scored against the Rams in the first quarter in 15 games. This is number 16. First and 10 to Tarkenton. He gives to Osborne straight ahead. Maybe he got 2, but not much more. An overhand shot to the head by Jack Youngblood.
Well, that looked like a Saturday night out in Cheyenne, Wyoming or something.
That's tough.
Boy, that is tough. Yeah, that's really tough.
Saturday night in Wyoming, still.
They were all right at the dance. What happened to them on Sunday?
Second and 8. He did get 2 yards. The Rams are awfully tough to run against and have been all year and have been today so far. Youngblood, Olsen, Brooks, and Pryor, the front 4. Excellent. Tarkenton fakes. Youngblood's after him. He fires. Caught by 2 boys. Taken right out of the hands of Isaiah Robertson.
I was surprised Franny waited so long to throw the ball because Stu Voigt was come right off the line of scrimmage and was wide open, clean across field, and waited until the linebacker dropped back here to throw it to him.
Now watch the guards drop back and try to do a job, and Fran did wait to pull the trigger, and Isaiah Robertson almost was there in time.
Voigt is one of those guys that never gets much recognition, but week in and week out does an outstanding job. First and 10, Minnesota. They're in Ram territory now at the 47. Harkington will throw again. Olsen almost got there. There's a flag down on the play. The pass is complete to John Gilliam.
We're going to get a little offensive holding, I believe, around that pocket. It looked like it was awfully stable.
Jack Youngblood was back close to Tommy Bell, really complaining. Let's see what Tom gives us as a preliminary signal. Number 73 is Ron Yeary.
He grabs you really held. He's one of the better offensive tackles in the game, especially here with the Vikings. Did a fantastic job all year blocking for Brandon. So when you're playing against a guy like as big and as quick as Youngblood, occasionally you're going to get by with it. Occasionally you're going to get caught.
At that time, Ron Yeary got caught holding, and the ball will go. Funny, the information we had was that Youngblood always had a tough time against Yeary.
Yeah, Yeary looks forward to playing Jack Youngblood, but 85 is some kind of a cracker, Jack. He doesn't even recognize his own teammates before a game. You know, he's ready to play.
All he goes by is Hunter on Sunday. Ball's back at the 43 now. It's first and 20 for Fran Tarkenton. He hands to Foreman straight ahead and got very, very little.
Yeah, Youngblood made a fantastic defensive play. I don't know how he made that tackle. He went over the blocker. Tackled a pretty fair hand, number 44. Fran's beginning to settle down a little bit throwing, isn't he, John?
Yes, he is. And you talk about number 44 last week against the St. Louis Cardinals. He had over 100 and some yards carrying a football, which is the first time this year that any Vikings had 100 yards on the ground by himself.
It'll be a three-man rush for the Rams now. Merlin Olsen goes to the sideline. Britton and Fryer Youngblood will try to put the heat on tight. A sprint out pass. Oh, he's hit from behind by Fred Dryer, his old Giant buddy.
I think he wanted to finally go up over the top to probably Gilliam, I guess, number 42, because Foreman was a man in motion and was covered, and the Rams were not fooled by Foreman going in motion at all. Here's Fran now. He looks first at Foreman, realizes that's tied up. Boyd's covered down the middle, and now he decides to go up over the top, but that time Dryer has already put his headlights on him.
That's a pretty tough blocker when you're rolling one way back there on that offensive tackle. When you're rolling one way and your line is going, the tackle really can't take anything away from that defensive line. You've got to try to stay in front of him at all times. And when you run away, you have a tendency to just let that man slip by, figure that the pass is going to be already thrown.
It's Marinaro is in the backfield for Minnesota now. He's an excellent pass receiver, but he'll run it this time. Marinaro cuts upfield, but he's hit by Jack Reynolds, the middle linebacker. And once again, the Vikings cannot move it. Mike Eichard will put up his fourth punt of the afternoon.
Well, what was it Bud Grant told us yesterday? He thought that the kicking games might decide this contest before it was all over. And he's been in so many playoffs, I guess Bud Grant ought to know, right?
There he is.
You know, he got touched before he came to this game this morning.
This morning?
This morning.
Did you get in?
No. Came back into.
Eichard, the punt for the Vikings. Good punt this time. Rob Scribner fields it at the 30-yard line, but the Vikings had good coverage. Sam McCollum down, first under. And he made the tackle on Scribner. So we've got 11 minutes and 42 seconds left in the second period. 38-yard kick by Eichard. No return to speak of, and it's still 0-0. Nelson, the red gloves on for Los Angeles.
It's like something from a Kung Fu movie or something, doesn't it?
He ought to be some receiver. First and 10 for the Rams at their own 30-yard line. They have 11 minutes and 42 seconds left. Ball is loose. Minnesota ball.
Sutherland that comes up with it, the defensive tackle. It's a cross-buck type action, a delay. Bertelsen never really had the handle on it. Now he's looking for it. It's already to the left side. Hilgenberg has the best shot at it, but I believe it was Sutherland on the bottom that finally scraped it up down there.
It was Doug Sutherland.
That's 3 turnovers already by the Rams.
While we were away in that last commercial, you said something was going to break. How'd you know that?
I just sensed it.
Vikings have it. At the Ram 30, 1st and 10. Tarkenton. He lost the ball. And the Rams got it back.
But he threw that one right back there. He really didn't have any... He had to control the ball in his one hand, but he just started to come up and he was going to run all the way. And there you see him coming right up through the hole. And the ball just hits his hip and just rolls right out of his hand.
Well, shouldn't he have put it away, though? Once he made the original fake, he's not going to fool anybody by having it on his back.
Well, he had it on his hip. I imagine he's just trying to carry that fake out, but if you're going to run with it, you better tuck it under that arm real quick.
The Vikings turned it over. The Rams turned it over. There's Jeff Knox. Look into that tent. It's very hard to see from where he is what's going on the field. 1st and 10. Ball's at the 24. McCutcheon will try to get outside. Behind the block of Bertelsen, and he's hit. Flag is down again. The Rams have already been penalized for 35 yards.
Well, they're probably going to call holding on that double-team block. Now, Schiavelli and Bertelsen made it look like single-leg football. They got hip to hip and shoulder to shoulder, and they must have grabbed a lot of that corner linebacker over there, Roy Winston.
That's a very slow-looking play developing.
Well, they pulled the left tackle, too, on a sweep to go to the right side. Cowan also pulled.
Bertelsen had Winston by the arm. Just kind of dragged him down. He felt that wanted Schiavelli to get around that corner to get another block downfield, but Schiavelli was already taken up by Winston.
Well, it wasn't the holding that they called. It was the fighting of the arm that he was holding.
He must not have eaten this morning, that would have.
Perhaps you could hear the voice of Tommy Bell indicating it was number 45, Jim Bertelsen, who was called for holding. 1st and 20. The ball back now at the Minnesota 14-yard line, and this is where you really have to protect it. Especially in a game like this, where the defenses are so good. 45 yards in penalties against the Rams already. Bertelsen. Straight ahead for good yardage this time. Jim Bertelsen running as well as we've seen him in a long time. He's been bothered by a series of minor hurts.
And I mean, Williamson and Schiavelli cleaned out the right side. What's the right part of your screen? There goes Tommy Mack through it. Schiavelli's got Sutherland. Mack gets clear into the secondary really cleanly. And Bertelsen only needs a crack. He's one of the real basic good football players in this country, anywhere.
Well, anytime you get your off guard into the secondary like that, you know the other side has done an excellent job blocking. 2nd and 9. Bertelsen got 11 with that carry. Harris is back to pass. Under the arm of Carl Eller, outside of it, nothing but not a first down. A fine tackle by Winston and Wright. Tackle by Roy Winston. Minnesota's been penalized 10 yards. The Rams already 45 yards.
Now, John, he threw that ball pretty well. He took a little off and waited for that traffic to go by and then just hit him with a real slippery, nice throw, didn't he?
And the Bayou kid kind of laid it on him right out of bounds there. This is one of the real smart linebackers, and Brad looked like they're trying to catch the Vikings in a quick shift. They got a lot of men up front. The Vikings are coming, no question about it this time. Bob Lurcham is the extra defensive lineman. They'll be all out rushing. Harris. He hit Jackson. The ball was behind him just a little bit, but I think he should have had it.
Well, I think Harold thinks he should have had it, too. So the Roadrunner's not bad. John, what do you got there?
No, you used to see a play here. It's a little quick pass, a little quick slant right here to Harold Jackson. You see he's wide open. Harris, of course, is going to throw the ball right behind linebacker who has a coverage on there, on that halfback, and you see it's thrown behind him and just dropped. But he should have had the football, and number 25 was playing too far off.
Well, that's what I say. With the big rush up front by at least 5, shouldn't you play him a little closer coming off the ball?
Well, man, with that kind of speed, you can't afford to really play him too close, because he's going to right on by you if you do. I think you've been in those kind of situations, a little bit happens.
Mike Burton hangs up a good punt, handled by McCollum. McCollum's not going anywhere. The Rams again do a good job covering. Jim Youngblood down on the special teams to tackle McCollum. 9:48 left now before halftime here in Bloomington. And still we have no score. Bloomington, Minnesota. The NFC Championship game between the Rams and the Vikings. For the honor of going to the Super Bowl this game, 1st and 10. Chuck Foreman wrapped up by Brooks. Foreman, the ball carrier. No gain for Chuck Foreman.
Boy, Freddie Dreyer again, too, is really playing the run much better, I think, with the Giants. Now, here's a man responsible for a lot of that great Ram defense. That's Ray Malavasi, one of the real great defensive coordinators around, and he's the one that's putting together the sham that the Vikings are trying to figure out what the heck's going on.
He's very active on that sideline, signaling to his defensive unit. Rams go with a regular 4-3 on 2nd and long. Tarkenton figures to throw. With the sideline intended for Lance. He's got it, 1st down.
You know, with all the doubles that Gilliam acquired because he's such a threat, this young man came on to catch about 32 passes. Now, Brad's looking to him. He does have a double on Gilliam's side. The young man, Lash, runs a real good sideline, gets at least 2 feet there. Here's the isolate of it now. Rides him up. Yeah. Like a centipede. He really makes sure.
Al Clark on the coverage. He did a good job last week against the Redskins. A lot of people had maligned that Rams secondary, but they were outstanding last week. Tarkenton was chased by Youngblood. Down to the sideline, intended for Gilliam, no good. He couldn't hang on, and he was out of bounds, too.
Well, that kind of throw just scares me. I thought sure that there'd be a defensive back right in front of that receiver down there. Frantic just looked like he was throwing the ball out of desperation.
Well, I'll tell you, Stukes made a good play, though. He went right through number 42's back, made sure there was no completion.
Tarkenton again under heavy pressure from a rush by Los Angeles. He is 4 of 8 for just 30 yards.
Listen, this fella can run the 60 right with Bob Hayes. I've seen him run the 60, and there's about a half an inch separating the two at the end, so he can fly, and you got to worry about that speed, don't you?
He just seems to glide away from those defensive halfbacks. I think that's part of his secret, that deceptive stride.
Yeah, he doesn't scare me.
You're up here, though.
That's right.
That's why, right? 2nd and 10. Tarkenton firing, this time intended for Gilliam, passed by Simpson, but no good.
Hey, I'll tell you, Fran Tarkenton heaved another one, and I don't know if he even took a look at the route that number 42 was trying to run for him. Elbendorf was a better intender in the wrong colored uniform.
I think he was just trying to get rid of the ball, Tom. Gilliam wasn't open at all coming down through the center. Had he tried to lower it down in there, he would have had to come up and make a tackle. I haven't seen a quarterback yet that likes to tackle folks.
John, you never missed a tackle in your life. Did you ever make a tackle?
How many interceptions I throw? I had to make a lot of them.
I saw you make a tackle. I can't remember what it was, but I saw it.
When you threw it in the flat, you moved over that way automatically, huh?
Yes, there it is. Real quick. Tarkenton straight back this time. Across the middle for Gilliam. He's got it taken down by Elmendorf, but that's 1st down and more. Flag is down after the play.
Got a little face mask, you think, maybe?
Perhaps. 42 against 42.
Say, the great thing was that Stu Voigt, the tight end, ran a center pattern and dragged everybody out of there, and Gilliam had a lot of room to work. Now, watch the move. I there's the one chuck by Stukes, left him inside, and now Voigt has already pulled this area clean of any kind of linebacker help. There's Elmendorf's tackle.
A late hit by somebody. The voice of Tommy Bell, I believe he said 42, but that's not right. It must be by Robertson, or perhaps Simpson, I'm not sure.
Oh, was it a late hit? I thought you were allowed late hits.
Late at night.
Right there, right before Isaiah Robertson has tapped there.
I believe there were offsetting penalties. I think both guys were involved in something here, because the ball is right where Gilliam caught it and finally wound up with it. Straight ahead goes Osborne. Still on his feet, but he got only about a yard. The ball's at the 31. As we have 8 minutes and 35 seconds left before the half. And still no score between two tough defensive units.
Well, I mean to tell you, that Ram defensive line, they eat up that ball so quickly. They're playing offense on defense. I know that sounds crazy, but Olsen and Brooks just attacked that line of scrimmage very quickly.
Beating the offensive line, and that's what you have to do to play real good defense. Beat them across that line of scrimmage. Normally it's the offense who is on offense, but as you said, the defense will take it to them this afternoon.
In the I formation. Tarkenton going deep. A lag. Touchdown. Underthrown, but touchdown. Coverage, but let's look at the first score of the day.
Now, we talked about Jim Lash, who has excellent speed, and this is pretty much of a solo effort. There's Tegelhoff setting up as Olsen makes the big rush, and Lash comes back for it, and the defender had really turned his back on the whole operation, John.
Yeah, that's the reason he was beaten right there, is that the back never saw the ball. Had he been able to see the ball, he could have come back and intercepted it or knocked it down, but as you see right there, his back is to it. He looks around to the inside for the ball when he should have been looking out to the outside for it. And he was just beat down there. A fine throw by Franny. Red Cox gets the extra point to make it 7-0 Minnesota.
So with exactly 8 minutes left before the end of the second period, the Vikings break on top, 7-0. Top, and there it is again.
Well, the Clark had turned his back and was trying to look straight over instead of becoming a receiver and playing one shoulder or the other. And Lash has the opportunity to do whatever he wants to then. He can see the ball all the way.
With that completion, Tarkenton goes 6 of 11 for 77 yards. Net 29-yard touchdown pass to Jim Lash. Cullen Bryant and Willie McGee are the deep receivers for Los Angeles, and Fred Cox will kick it off. Bryant will field it. At 14. Big Cullen Bryant takes it outside the 30. Where the Rams will take it over. They trail 7-0. Doug Kingsrider, backup tight end, is the man who made the tackle.
Now, Chuck Knox's big problem so far on offense is they've been making really silly mistakes for a team like the Rams. The holdings and, of course, the fumbles. And I think Knox would like to see Harris get a long, steady drive going and get that ground game going and not have to be third and long or second and long all the time.
Third and long things really hurt, Jud. And once they got noticed, they just haven't thrown the ball, as much on first down as they have in previous ball games.
There's the first down coming up for Los Angeles. James Harris still the quarterback, and Bertelsen will run with it. They ran right at Carl Eller, and they blew him out pretty well.
Williams a good tackle, and again, Tom Mack got through the hole cleanly. If Mack had had the ball, he'd have made 7 yards.
I think there's one guy in Rams offensive line that really doesn't get a lot of credit, and that's the tight end, Bob Klein. He does a real fine job. He's a good, excellent blocker and an excellent receiver. And I think that Mr. Harris is going to have to start coming to Bob Klein, coming down across that middle on his quick diagonals in order to pick up some, get an offense moving a little bit.
Harris has 7 minutes and 15 seconds before the half to get something on the board for Los Angeles. McCutcheon straight ahead, does not get the first down. He gets to the 40, stopped by Alan Page.
Did you notice how he carried the ball this time? He has it really doubled up with both elbows around the football. He's thinking about the fumble he had earlier, I'm sure.
Next Sunday, the CBS Sports Spectacular returns with 2 hours of diversified sports each Sunday.
2 amateur boxing matches, the U.S. against Hungary, and that's always a bitter battle, right?
Part 1 of the World Series of Auto Racing with the midgets, and the second leg of the ladies' Triple Crown of Golf from Australia.
Whatever happened to the first leg of the ladies' Triple Crown of Golf?
I don't know. That's all coming up on Sunday, January the 5th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. McCutcheon, 7 carries for 18 yards. He gained over 1,000 during the regular season. The only back in the NFC to do that. Harris throws to Bertelsen. He got him for a first down. He's hit by Jeff Seaman as soon as he caught it.
I wonder why Seaman had coverage on that. Where did Wally Hilgenberg go? He's the outside linebacker, and Seaman had to come from the inside. Here it is now, as Harris goes right to him. Again, it's that little straight out of the backfield. You think Hilgenberg was given deep help, Joe?
Well, we had what they call the safety zone again on it. on there over there, Tommy, and that's just that dead spot right there. The outside linebacker flying outside, the middle guard coming over back to the weak side. Getting that dead spot, you can normally hit that pretty often.
Hilgenberg is out of the game now, and Amos Martin is the linebacker on the right side. Harris is going to pass again. Outside to Burleson, can't find the handle. Right in the hand. He normally doesn't drop one like that.
Yeah, well, McCutcheon was the leading receiver for the Rams. I'm sure James Harris thought that was the safest thing he could do, was just unload it and let the speed of his running back take care of it. I'll tell you, Harris doesn't look like he gets ruffled, though. He keeps a very calm outward look, doesn't he?
He hung in there last week against the Redskins after 2 interceptions.
Well, the Vikings that time, of course, went back again to their sort of prevent their double zone type thing, and leaving you little halfback passes like that open and let the man run with it. But you certainly have to catch the football in order to get the first down.
Vikings made a lot of defensive changes. On 2nd and 10, they'll put on the rush. Harris, back to pass. Outside for Burleson, and he's got it.
Boy, I'll tell you, James Harris really put some mustard on that one. That was a good throw.
Kicked out of bounds by Jeff Wright. And let's look at it again.
Johnny, talk about the style of James Harris. He must have a strong bone, huh?
Well, he sure does. He stands right back, and he's pretty well flat-footed, and he comes right over the top with it. And he's pretty tall, Tommy, so, you can put some zip on the football when you can really get over the top of your head.
He throws like Bill Wade used to. Right straight over the top.
Looked like Don Drysdale fastball.
3rd and 2 for the Rams now. The ball is right at the Minnesota 45. 2 tight ends. Short yardage team in for Los Angeles. Wonder if he might throw now. Nope. Burleson gets the ball. Here gets hit by Jeff Seaman. Fine defensive play by the middle linebacker who filled that hole with some authority.
Now, here's a sociology major from Stanford, so you know he's bright, but he's also an assassin. Watch him. The middle linebacker really sticks Burleson and nothing moves forward.
I tell you what really enables Cy Jeff to get over there is the fact that the defensive line keeps all of this offensive guards and tackles off of the middle guard. And he's able to roam right down that line of scrimmage and just follow McCutcheon or Burleson and nail him right at the line of scrimmage.
Mike Burke will get a chance to practice his out-of-bounds coffin corner artistry right here.
But he hit 6 of 10 against the Vikes that other game inside the 10-yard line.
This one he hangs high right straight down the middle, and Jackie Wallace puts up a hand. Also into the end zone. So Minnesota will have the ball at the 20-yard line. The Rams still have not been able to get on the scoreboard or get close enough to try a field goal.
Let's see if we can take a look during this series of Merlin Olsen working against Eddie White. Okay, 280-pounders battling. We'll try to pick up a little close action.
I think you'll find that the Rams come to be on that odd man line this first down. They have been since the ball game started first down, evidently which is a typical running down for the Vikings. Evidently the percentages of when they watch those films prove itself out the first down run. There you see it now.
First and 10, Osborne gets the call. Gets away from Jettis and gets some good yards. That is one outstanding individual effort by Dave Osborne. He had no right to get that many yards.
You know, a lot of people, including Dave, thought he was washed up 2 years ago, and he just went on a rehabilitation kick and did a great job in getting back. They handled Olsen that time, by the way, too.
One nation, one team. This will be the theme of our Olympic team for the 1976 games, and you can help the United States send its best competitors. Here's how. Send $2 or more, if you wish, to Olympic House, 57 Park Avenue, New York City, 10016. Your contribution will be acknowledged with a red, white, blue, and gold pin, the traditional shield designed by the United States Olympic Committee. Here's Chuck Foreman's first break of the day, and Minnesota first down. Grant.
And that time, Osborne really did a job blocking the middle linebacker. Let's see if we can pick it up. Watch number 41 going too early and handling Reynolds. There goes Foreman over the top. And by the way, that's the most unselfish superstar in football. Number 44 is quite a kid.
And he can really high step it, too. He was beautiful last week, and if they continue to block this way for him, he will step over and round and through people just to get that yardage.
And what does he say about Dave Osborne? He's his man, right?
First down of the day rushing for the Vikings. Ahead is Osborne for about 6 or 7. Now they are really banging off that ball.
And Mick Tingelhoff again did a great job against Merlin Olsen. And Mick Tingelhoff's got to give away about 45 pounds in that matchup.
Last 3 plays have been just right straight ahead. Twice by Osborne, once by Foreman. Let's watch Olsen.
Okay, that's all. Merlin this time is not in the offset over the man's nose. He got cut down by, I believe, Ron Urey cut him down to the inside.
2nd and 4, 6-yard pickup. Osborne this time was hit behind the line, but got another first down. Larry Brooks had him behind the line of scrimmage, but couldn't hang on.
He's a strong runner. I don't know how they got out of Brooks' grasp on that one, because Brooks really had him back there. I thought it was coming up a loss of yardage, but able to shake Brooks and get on downfield for 5 or 6 more yards.
We are nearing a 2-minute warning in the first half. I didn't think this day was cold enough for Osborne to run well. It's only about 30. He likes it below 0. Field now. Foreman this time tries the same spot, but that time Olsen defeated the block. With 1 minute and 58 seconds remaining in the quarter, there's a timeout with the score. Minnesota 7, Los Angeles nothing. 10 seconds left before the half. They lead 7-0. In the NFC Championship game in Bloomington. A warm day.
Hey, John, I think Fran calls all his own plays. Is he one of the last of the quarterbacks that likes to run his own show?
Well, I don't know whether he's the last, but there are not very many of them who do. Most of the coaches like to take that responsibility away from the quarterback for some odd reason.
There he is. Facing a 2nd and 8 situation now. Gonna put it up. And way up. Almost picked off. Intended for John Gilliam.
And this time, Al Clark played it right, Pat. He turned one way or another and got right into a stride with Gilliam going up the sideline, so it was 2 receivers going for the ball, and he didn't have to look over his head and fight a wobbling run.
He almost came up with the interception, too. I don't know whether Gilliam got his hand in it or knocked it out of Clark's grasp or not, but...
Again to the left, Lash to the right. This time Foreman will run. He spins it in from one tackle. Almost got the first down, but the Rams, I believe, have the football. They knocked it loose. With 1:46, Los Angeles gets it back. 1:46 left before halftime, I should say.
And Foreman does fly the old elbow, to use a golfing term. He does this because he's trying to pick up extra yardage. Now watch him in a minute. Swing that right arm up, and there it goes. I'll tell you, he's in trouble. With Merlin Olsen and that gang of thugs there, the ball is no longer his.
So the Rams do get it back. They have all 3 of their timeouts left. They have it at their own 43 with 1:46 left before the half. The Vikings lead 7-0. Harris back to pass. Throws for Jack Stowe. He's got it now to bounds inside Minnesota territory at the 38-yard line. Stowe, week in and week out, year in, year out, is one of the better clutch receivers in the game.
Has nothing except the catches to show for it. By the way, Harris is really smoothing it out now, John. He aired that one out beautifully.
He had it there hanging for Jack Snow, actually before he broke, and all Jack had to do was turn around, take it, step out of bounds, stop the clock.
Hey, that other receiver can kill you, too. Lance Rensel is still a very, very fine pass receiver.
He and Snow alternate as one wide receiver spot for the Rams. Call the plays for James Harris. Rensel backs off the line at the last minute. Harris gives to Bertelson. He tries to get inside Sutherland, but Doug hangs on.
Hey, except for a pass rusher, too, Carl Eller has not been a major factor on that Minnesota defense. They've been trapping him and running inside, and that time Sutherland had to make a great recovery, or they might have had 5 or 6 or 7 yards that time.
Much to the credit of offensive tackle John Williams, number 75 of the Rams. He's done a good job on Eller. The Rams use one of their timeouts now. James Harris goes over to visit with Chuck Knox and company. Minute 37 left in the first half. Minnesota leads 7-0.
it couldn't be a reason for all the turnovers, but both teams have had their problems, haven't they, holding on to the football?
What do you think Knox is talking about over there? Deciding on between the three on what you're going to call, or is he asking Harrison, what do you have? And Harrison, what do you have? Brent said, well, I got something.
You ever see a receiver that wouldn't tell you he could get open? Everybody can get open on every play.
And say, I'm open all the time.
Yeah. But how about ball carriers? Did Alan Amici always keep saying, give me the ball all the time? Well, they don't want it all the time, do they?
No, Horst never said too much about things like that. You know, if you give it to him, fine. Otherwise, you can stand back and just hit people. He figured that you were out there, you knew what you were doing. If you want to give it to him, fine. He figured you're very, very intelligent when you give it to him 3 times in a row.
Turnovers in this game so far are even. Both teams have an interception. Both teams have fumbled twice and lost it.
With the passing situation down on second about 7.5 or 7?
I would think so. It's a minute and 37 seconds left. If you don't complete it, you just come back and the clock is stopped. So, close up safe. And the Vikings made a strange secondary shuffle. Terry Brown is played safety as Harris goes back to pass and hits the touchdown. Out of the backfield, he was wide open. First down, Los Angeles. They call another timeout.
Man, I mean, that zone dropped out of sight, almost went out the end of the stadium.
A lot of pressure on Harris, too. You know, he had to come through. Extra defensive backs in the game for Minnesota. Harris on 1st and 10. The ball's at the Viking 18. Back to pass again. Stepped up into the pocket nicely and hit Bertelson, and he made a miraculous catch. Jim Bertelson coming out of the backfield. Harris's pass complete to Bertelson.
Let's take a look at it this time. I don't know how Bertelson caught it. It's going to be awfully close to that first down stick. Some pressure there by Eller. Page a little bit late getting there. Hey, he makes it in traffic with being whisked over by number 24 all around him all over the time. Terry Brown had him from the time he started his move.
I'm not going to say what I said.
He's not able to get out.
Second and 2 for the Rams and James Harris. Ball's at the 10. Minnesota leads 7-0. Harris throws, interception, bounces off his chest. The Vikings almost came up with it. One of the linemen took a dive for it. I believe Carl Eller. No, it was Alan Page.
Well, the only question is, did he throw it too hard, John Unitas, or was it just a bad catch? Let's take a look at it right here now. Did he really hum this, or is the ball pretty...
Well, it looks where he's standing right there. I don't think he hummed that at all. He just kind of tried to lazy it in there. I just think he takes his eyes off the ball, really. And when you're coming around that middle of that line, you know, there are people there who are swinging from the floor up.
So it's 3rd and 2 now. The minute and 15 seconds left before the half. Vikings are up by 7. Outside it goes, intended for Rentsel, thrown a little bit too soon. Would you take the field goal? I believe I would.
Anything you can get right now. You don't want to be slighted at halftime, that's for sure, right?
No, that pattern was there. It was Harris on that one. He's a little bit too soon with the ball. Otherwise, Rentsel has 6 points.
Yeah, Lance was still working on his quarterback when the ball was whizzing by his ears.
And that's the importance of the timing, the work that you do during the week and after practice with these receivers to get that timing down perfect, especially on that little short pass. You know, it's tough to throw, but you can do it if you just work at it.
This will be a field goal effort of 27 yards by David Ray, with Steve Priest holding. Good kick. 27-yard field goal by number 27, David Ray. They went 47 yards in 6 plays, and the Rams stretched the scoreboard.
Looks like his back spasm hasn't hurt his accuracy since he's come back, huh?
Well, he made 2 last week. Now he's made 1 here in a clutch situation. Nothing like a little success to cure your back spasms.
Did you ever have a back spasm problem when you were kicking?
Only in the clutch.
Only on a crucial one, right?
7-3 now, and we have a minute and 8 seconds left before the half here at Bloomington. The Vikings have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Touchdown pass of 29 yards from Fran Tarkenton to Jim Lash put them on the scoreboard first. And deep for Minnesota, Sam McCullum and Brent McClanahan.
And Tarkenton is not a bad 2-minute quarterback, or in this case, a 1-minute quarterback, he can move him pretty well with the pattern offense, can he?
And he moves the ball real well just about any time, especially 2 minutes. He likes those little short passes, little swings to try to eat the time, to control the time and get downfield as quick as possible. I'm sure that he'll probably just kind of control the football and eat the time up.
McClanahan takes it at the 8. Got a little hole there. McClanahan comes to the outside. Gets out of bounds. Chased out of bounds by Jim Peterson, one of the linebackers, one of the backup people, and Colin Bryant. So Fran will have a minute and 1 second to try to get something else on the scoreboard for the Vikings. He'll be on the move. Let's see what the Rams do defensively, if anything differently in this situation. Looks like it'll still be a normal front 4. No prevent defense of any kind.
I still think Bud Grant's thinking about 3 points. I think he'd like to get down and have Fred Cox tack the 3 back on so they go in with that 7-point margin. I bet you they try to move it a little bit right here.
It is 7-3 now. As the 2 wide receivers, the 2 fast receivers, are on the same side of the field. Nash and Gilliam talking them straight back. Fires deep to Foreman. Elmendorf got a hand on it, but couldn't hang on.
I couldn't believe it. Foreman didn't even run all out. He didn't act like he was even in the pass pattern. He sort of jogged the first 5 or 6 yards, and he might not want to go over and face this man at halftime if he doesn't run out all the patterns like he is the #1 receiver.
I think I've been working on some kind of sideline before throwing that takeoff to him, just to kind of lull that defensive back a little bit.
56 seconds now left before the half. Possibly heard the voice of Tommy Bell giving some instructions to one of the other officials. Let's see. Lash comes right. Gilliam is to the left for Tarkenton. Osborne with the ball. And a rather strange call. Tackle by Jack Youngblood. 44 seconds. The Vikings do not take a timeout. They have all 3 left.
I'm wondering right now, the Pittsburgh and Oakland players are getting taped. They've probably had their pregame meal, and they're beginning to get their game faces on. I wonder if some of them are watching this game out of the corner of their eyes, perhaps.
I imagine the winner of this game will play the winner of that game. Come Super Bowl time in New Orleans. 3rd down and 8 now. Straight ahead again is Osborne. And he got the first down, I believe. He's very, very close to it. Now they might take a timeout with something working here. Good effort by Osborne again.
You know what he does in the off-season? He sells hot dogs. He's got his own hot dog manufacturing company. And he's about the most low-key guy you'd ever meet in your life. I don't mean he's a hot dog, but he's in business.
I thought you were going to tell me he spent the off-season running into the stadium to keep in shape. They do take a timeout now. So Minnesota has 2 left. The Rams burned up all theirs. 1st and 10. See if he throws now. Nope. Jeff Foreman to the outside. Will get nowhere. The Rams converge on him in a hurry. They thought they got the ball loose. Elmendorf has it. But the clock is going to run out. Here in the NFC Championship game, that's the end of the first half. That is the end of the first half with the score. Minnesota 7, Los Angeles 3. Unit with Fred Cox, the key man, ready to kick off the second half. The Vikings lead it 7-3 as we have 30 more minutes of football at least. For the NFC Championship game between the Rams and the Vikings. Cox standing at the 35, tossing the tee around at the moment.
Pat, it's funny. The 2 great players, McCutcheon and Foreman, for their respective teams, have really been shut down in the first half. So I would imagine defensive coaches are thinking about taking that big play away, and you can see that the stats are pretty even, except down at the bottom where you can't quite see it down there. The turnovers are the important things. 2 and 2 losing for the Los Angeles Rams, and 3 and lost 2 for the Minnesota Vikings. But stats-wise, a pretty decent face-off.
Score-wise, it's Minnesota 7, Los Angeles 3. Fred Cox is ready. Deep for the Rams, Willie McGee, number 24, and Cullen Bryant, number 32. Handled by Bryant. McGee gets in front to block for it. Hit hard by Fred McNeil, the backup linebacker. Temperature is now 31 degrees. It's gone up a degree, if you can believe it, since we started the game.
That's the first time the Vikings have been on time for the second half kickoff all year, isn't it?
I think you're right.
They usually stay in there and drive the other coaching staff completely up the wall.
I think someone turned the heat on in the room and Bud Grant couldn't stand it, so they had to get him out.
They wanted to come out early and see who won the PB&J contest. Ball is at the 26-yard line for the Rams. James Harris is still the quarterback on 1st and 10. He gives to McCutcheon. He cuts back over the middle and got maybe 2. Stopped by Jeff Seaman, the middle linebacker, and he's had a good day.
Again, Mack fired out on Alan Page and didn't do a bad job. A lot of the offensive running attacks, John, now are go ahead and seek wherever the hole turns up, and they're not nearly as described as they used to be a few years ago, right?
Well, you get a lot of stunning lines and a lot of slanting one way or the other. That way you have to just go ahead and pick your hole. If the guy slants one way, the offensive man takes him, and he can cut back off of it.
On 2nd down, Harris has Bertelson and McCutcheon as his running back. Harris is going to throw on 2nd down. Grip protection. Ball just slipped out of his hand. He might have been hit at the last minute, but there was no question but that his arm came forward. It was not a fumble.
Yeah, his arm was coming forward, and the official's right on. Now watch Carl Eller to the left bottom of your screen, number 81. He gets inside of Williams, and then goes back outside. I think he takes Harris from underneath the arm right there, and somebody was making contact on the far side, maybe Mr. Marshall, I believe. Was it forward? I believe it was forward.
Well, his ball just slipped out of his hand. His hand was coming through with the ball, and it just kind of slipped out of it. Those things will happen to you occasionally.
We'll get the 4-man rush from the Vikings on 3rd down, but we'll get 2 extra defensive backs, Randy Podal and Terry Brown. Harris back to pass again. Complete this time to Bertelson. 1st down, Los Angeles. Excellent protection that time afforded James Harris by the offensive line.
Now, you can be embarrassed by having the ball fall out of your hand, but I'll tell you one thing, he stood tall on this one and really waited.
Well, you sure can't worry about those kind of things, Tom. He stood right in that pocket, and as Pat said, the protection was excellent. And Burleson ran a fine pattern right out there into the dead part of that zone and just picked the ball up.
1st and 10, Los Angeles at the Ram 44. They trail 7-3 here in the opening minutes of the 3rd period of the NFC Championship game. Harris brings it back to Bertelson. He tried to go wide. He cuts back and gets underneath for about 4.
They ran back to Klein, the tight end side, which was the weak side in this case. There you see a super defensive player that's watching the offense go. He's going to receive the Burt Bell Award, the Maxwell Club's trophy, as the outstanding professional athlete this year in football, and I don't think a better guy could grab it.
I think you're right. He's been playing 13 years for the Rams, and all 13 years he's been selected to go to the Pro Bowl. That's what he is. Sutherland moves over the head of the center, Kenny Iman, on 2nd down. And that was Sutherland that jumped. McCutcheon trying to get to the outside. Hit by Jeff Wright, who is playing cornerback now. Or did he come up from the safety spot? I see Jackie Wallace in the game. He's playing safety, is Jeff Wright.
Well, I think he had the short zone then, the safety type zone, so he had the force more or less, and he came up and gave him a good shot. And McCutcheon, though he doesn't look big, he's leaving the field right now, but McCutcheon will go 2'8" or 2'9" and has legs like Secretariat.
He's almost as fast.
That'd be a pretty good match race.
It would, for a few hundred yards. I know I'll go with 3rd and 1. You always like Parsons. Bertelson gets the call. I believe he stood it underneath Alan Page for enough yardage to get a 1st down.
Here's the Charlie Cowan side, too. Mack and Charlie Cowan. Now, Cowan is, I guess, played in more games as a Ram than any other Ram alive, right? 100 and almost 200.
Bertelson might be shaken just a little bit. He's gone out, and Tony Baker has come in. No, it isn't. It's Cappelletti. It is not Tony Baker. Bertelson was blocking on that last play from McCutcheon, and he might have hurt himself a little bit. Here's Harris, straight ahead. He gets away from one man, two men. The ball is loose again. Harris can't get to it. The Vikings have it. Nate Wright got the loose ball.
Oh, never seen a play any more exciting than that, but I'll tell you, James Harris, watch how carelessly he does carry the ball. Now, Capoletti has a pretty good shot at this later. Now, here's Harris. Now he makes a quick run. You know, he's really much swifter than I thought he was. Right here, he and the ball separate. That's Roy Winston that just spikes it. Now watch Capoletti, number 22, coming along. And he tries to pick it up and misses. And now Wright picks it up and it makes sure of the contact first and puts it away. Big turnover.
Minnesota has it 1st and 10 at their own 37-yard line with Foreman, the ball carrier. Straight ahead. Look there. Look out. Chuck Foreman with a great second effort. Off the left side between Pryor and Brooks came Foreman. He was finally stopped by Al Clark.
Now, from the moment he takes the ball, he is faking. The first tackler just has a heck of a time. There went Isaiah Robertson, a strong guy, and he can break it all the way. Foreman has done that and had him called back a few times, but he can break one all the way.
He's blocked by Dave Osborne.
And Pryor is the problem, too. They just peel him off.
Right down there playing safety on that play.
Ball now resting in Ram territory at the 46. Minnesota another first down. Foreman swings to the outside. He got about halfway to the first down.
Boy, they really finessed Jack Youngblood. It wasn't the defensive end's fault, but he really set up the block, and Osborne just pinned the big defensive end in, and then Foreman just hustled it outside.
Well, the whole first half was Osborne on the ground, and so far looks like Foreman's going to try to pick up the slack the second half.
2nd and 4. Foreman got 6 in that last play. Chuck Knox looking on from the front of the Rams bench and conferring with some of his staff. The Vikings lead it 7-3 in a classic defensive struggle, just what we expected. Osborne will get the ball this time. He just got a fleeting card from Youngblood, but he's still got some yardage. Youngblood hit him behind the line of scrimmage.
And I believe Isaiah Robertson got a shot at him early, too. Now watch what he does to escape and make yardage. Don't ask me how he does it. He's head on. That's Youngblood. Now Robertson. And on his hands and knees, Osborne got ahead and picked up yardage, and it's going to be 3rd and almost short yardage now.
He picked up 2 with that individual effort. So it's 3rd and 2. The ball at the 38-yard line of Los Angeles. Takes the Foreman. He goes deep for Osborne. It's knocked down with good coverage by Simpson, the safety man, the rookie. Back in good shape on Osborne, so it'll be 4th down.
Boy, he was a good number 2 draft choice by the Rams, huh?
Rookie from Michigan State.
And playing like he's been back in that sophisticated secondary for about 5 or 6 years. He's done a great job.
I think the interception he had last week against Washington went a long way to build up his confidence sitting back in there, Tom. You know, it's pretty tough for a rookie to come in there without being concerned with, especially with the type of receivers that Minnesota has. But when you're able to play against a team like the Washington Redskins last week and then come up with a big interception off of Jorgensen, that will build the confidence up.
He replaced Steve Priest about the midway in the season. Now Mike Eichscheid is back to kick. Going to try for the out-of-bounds. Oh, Moose. Did he get it? He did get it. At the 1-yard line, Mike Eichscheid nails the Rams back.
Bud Grant said the kicking game might be important, huh?
Watch it again right here. Mike Eichscheid puts the ball out of bounds almost at the flag. Inside the 1. That's where the Rams take over.
Ford.
Their own 1-yard line with 1 minute, with 9 minutes and 15 seconds left in the 3rd period. Ball is actually not quite out to the 1. It's Mike Eichscheid caught and cornered one as well as you can do it. A touchdown Ferguson about 5 yards deep in their own end zone. Harris will go straight ahead and almost came out of there. It's a big gain right there. Even if they don't get any more, that gives the punter a little bit more room.
Big quarterback, too. He's a 215-pounder. John, did you ever quarterback sneak to get out of the end zone to get breathing room? Or?
Oh, yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah. I was lucky to get a yard, though.
You ever break one?
What, leg?
No. That's neat. Oh, you kidding me? Harris got a big 8 on that carry. So it's 2nd and 2. McCutcheon gets it outside the 10. First down, Los Angeles, and that's a big one. He was stopped by Alan Page, but McCutcheon got the first. 47,404 at the Met in Bloomington.
Unitas and I were talking during the break, and we think that eventually, if Harris gets some field position, that Klein has got to catch the football a few times. They must be comboed on the outside, and the tight end wouldn't be a bad man, would he, John?
Oh, sure would. You can't get him coming across that middle too very easily because the linebackers drop pretty deep.
Harris gets to McCutcheon again. He's hit by the right side of the defense, led by Alan Page again, and by Wally Hilgenberg. Watch Page in his involvement in that last play, number 88.
All right, watch number 88 now. There's the fire-off. That's Tom Mack working on him, and even though it's a good block, he's like a rubber man. He just stretches over and still makes the tackle, and then Hilgenberg, a wild man, the outside linebacker, finished him off.
They held that play to no gain, so it's 2nd and 10 for the Rams. Harris gets to Bertelson. He got a little running room this time. He's run well today. Over the right side of that offensive line, he was finally stopped by Jim Marshall, who chased him from the other side. Bertelson was shaken up a little bit just before this.
I talked to him after his final game, the Cotton Bowl, once down in Dallas, and he was sitting in the dressing room and said, I don't think I'm going to try pro ball. I don't know if I'm fast enough. I'm told I can't make it. I said, well, you ought to give it a try anyway, so you say you've always tried. But he isn't a bad hand to have around, is he?
He's sure not. He's going to get a little rest right now. You know what they say his one weakness is?
What's that?
That he's too quiet.
Too nice a guy.
If he gets open in the secondary, he won't yell and say, here I am.
That's unusual. You're right about that.
7-3, Minnesota, with 6:50 left, third period. Rams first down on that carry by Bertelson. Here's John Capoletti trying to get to the outside, and maybe he got a yard or so. Bertelson carried 14 times for 65 yards before he got that rest.
And the tip-off, of course, was that guard Tom Mack got out cleanly, and they made the corner, which means the lead back, McCutcheon, must have gotten a good block on that linebacker. He had to get a good block from 30 to get outside. If you don't block, you can't play running back in this league anymore. You know, John?
No, you've got to be able to put your head in there. You really have to enjoy doing it. You know, it's not a task that's a happy one, especially when you've got linebackers who are about 50, 60 pounds heavier than most of your backs back there.
Capoletti got
To make that running game go, you got to do it.
Capoletti got 2 on that first down carry. They will make it 2nd and 8 at the 25. Blitz is on. Winston couldn't get Harris down. He's still up. He fires. He's got Jackson. Look out now. He can fly. Harold Jackson. He might go all the way. Jeff Rowe finally got him out of bounds inside the 5. What a play by James Harris and Harold Jackson.
For a defensive game, and it looks to me like Jackson might be down. Let's take a look at it. The blitz comes to the right center of your screen. That's Winston, who hasn't missed many people in his career. Harris throws him off. Now another shot. Doesn't get much of it. A good tackle attempt put on him there by, I believe it was Sutherland. And now the throw. And boy, you're right, Pat. Now there's a problem. 4-3 for the 40. Back and forth.
He ran into Capoletti when he started going to his right, or he might have been able to continue in that direction.
Capoletti was downfield to try to head off the guy behind him.
Out of bounds at the 2-yard line, making about the 2.5, and Jackson, I think more than anything else, is just tired. He had to run a long way.
Hey, John, how cool can you be as a quarterback? Harris certainly waited on this one.
I'll tell you, Winston missed the tackle back there, and when you're as big as Harris is, you're pretty strong. You stand up. He reminds you of Roman Gabriel for as far as his strength is concerned. He's really taken off a lot of guys in his time, too.
Rams have it first and goal at the 2. Capoletti swings to the left side. Does not quite get in. The Rams have their hands up. Joe Schiavelli signaled touchdown, but the officials didn't. And Joe is not wearing the striped shirt yet.
And they ran right at Alan Page, didn't they? Right off Tom Mack and Cowan. Capoletti's a interesting thing. He's still calling the equipment men sir out there in Rams territory. Every time he comes in and says, sir, can you get me another pair of socks or something?
I hope he doesn't change.
He won't.
There's some rumors earlier in the week that Capoletti might be traded to the Eagles, but Chuck Knox was vehement when he said, no, that's not true. He's in the backfield now along with Tony Baker. Vikings are claiming that they were suckered into jumping offside. But they got a penalty. There it is. It's against the Rams. Harris went on a long count, and sometimes that can be a disadvantage as well as an advantage.
Somebody must have moved a hand on the line of scrimmage. Again, Harris doesn't look like things like that affect him very much. He must be just thinking about the next play.
The thing about that, Pat, really, is if you're going to go on those long counts, you ought to do at least once or twice out in the field somewhere to get your people used to it. A lot of guys just can't sit down there for 4 or 5 counts.
Especially close to the goal line like that. They get up on their edge. So it's second and goal now. The ball just outside the 5. Capoletti and Baker, the running back. Harris, also a running back. Going to try it himself. He gets down to about the 2. Or maybe not quite that far. Stopped by Paul Kraus. By Lance Ritzel. This is the place where Ram quarterbacks start to look for the guy you two were talking about before, Bob Klein, the tight end. Harris has carried the ball 3 times for 17 yards. Vikings lead at 7-3. Harris fires and intercepted by Hilgenberg in the end zone. The Vikings come up with another turnover.
I believe Alan Page took that ball, number 88.
And again, the Viking defensive unit gets a standing ovation.
The roll right, he's looking for the tight end. There's Max trying to cut down people from behind. Let's see who tips it.
Jackie Wallace got a finger on it.
Jackie Wallace, and Hilgenberg makes the shoestring catch.
And so it's still 7-3 Minnesota. Overs have really hurt the Rams. They had a first and goal at the 2.5-yard line and came away with nothing. And Fran Tarkenton and his team still lead 7-3 after an interception by Hilgenberg. Foreman, the ball carrier that time for the Vikings. Stopped by Merlin Olsen.
Harris has been pretty careful the last 10 games. He only has 6 interceptions, and here you can see what kind of great weather really for this NFC Championship game we have. It is perfect for football, really.
31 degrees, no snow, bright, bright day. The only problem might be looking into that sun. Some of the Ram players you saw just shading their eyes. 2nd and 5. Flag goes down, and Bob Beeks comes in with the ruling.
Jack Youngblood made sure he made contact with Stu Voigt, and they're going to walk it off against the Rams for illegal procedure on offside. Pardon me.
Much to the delight of 47,000 plus.
Boy, look at Youngblood. Is he mad?
Him to be mad at me.
It seems like everything's going against the Rams at this point.
I Isaiah Robertson conferring with Tommy Bell. Foreman has carried 10 times for 50 yards. Osborne 12 times for 47 yards.
Let's watch Youngblood on this particular play. I have a feeling somebody's going to get hit. And Ron Yeri is the one that has to look back in the eye right there.
Don't want to hit him too hard either. Ball out at the 30-yard line now. 1st and 10. 4:56 left in the third period. Straight ahead is Osborne. Maybe 2. Stopped by Larry Brooks.
Now you really have it teed off, Youngblood, because he was all poised to strike anybody, and they didn't even touch him. They just sort of went inside with a play where he couldn't do anything.
Here he is.
Look at this now. And look what happened when this play was snapped now. Everybody just losing it. He's so darn mad. Oh, and the smoke is coming out of that helmet.
Smoking this time. He's number 85 at the top of that defensive line. It's a passing situation here. Tarkenton fires, knocked down by Ken Geddes, the linebacker. And Youngblood was back with Tarkenton.
Youngblood beat Ron Yeri to the inside and got both hands up and almost cost an interception that time.
Well, Franny threw that right into the coverage. I think he made his mind up really before the ball was snapped.
Watch what he does to Fran, and Fran probably goes back and says, "Will you guys leave him alone?" Talk to him about his wife and kids, you know. Get him off the subject of me.
Be nice to him.
You might be saying to those offensive linemen now, would you like to come back here and throw this thing? 3rd and 8. Eddie McMillan, an extra defensive back in the game now on the Los Angeles side. Pryor gets around Goodrum. Tarkenton finally gets the ball out to Stu Boyd. He threw that one out of a hole.
That was just a fantastic throw and play by Franny. I thought he was on the ground.
And I tell you, Merlin Olsen and company.
There you see Franny set up the behind the line of scrimmage there. That the play is, of course, with all the defensive backs, extra defensive backs in there, and everybody's pretty well covered. Halfback coming out here, tight end going to the outside. Franny gets a pretty good rush, and he kind of runs out of the pocket there, and the ball comes out from nowhere, as you see it right here. And I think that defensive back thought that they had Franny on the ground as well.
He just disappeared from sight, and all of a sudden the ball came flying out. And a perfect strike to Stu Boyd. Almost missed Foreman with the handoff, and Foreman got it back.
Oh, that was an air ball. An air ball. Let's take a look at the handoff. Tarkenton, the number 44. Now watch this ball come up, and you're going to see like a blimp hanging above a stadium, and he just grabbed it quickly.
Franny just got him on the hip that time, Tom. He didn't really have the ball in there far enough for him, I don't think.
But when quarterbacks do that, they always look at the ball carrier like he did something wrong.
Well, there's almost 2 possibilities. Either the quarterback didn't get around quick enough, or the halfback ran too wide.
Foreman has gone to the sideline. Looks like a problem with his left leg. But the way he left, it didn't look like a serious problem. You have to get the trend. The head Marinaro's in the game. Here's Osborne. Breaking into the secondary for a Minnesota first down. Isaiah Robertson on the stop.
They ran the quick scissor trap, and watch Andy Maurer work on Fred Dreyer, the center of your screen, lower left. They get Freddie and do a good job. Maurer at 275, Dreyer at about 230. I tell you, Marinaro hit that hole in a hurry, too.
He sure did. Chuck Goodrum got a good block down on Brooks, too. That cross block worked well.
Marinaro's an Ivy League boy, isn't he?
Yes, sir. That doesn't matter, does it?
Not if you play like he does.
Marinaro is the deep back. Osborne now has 60 yards and 14 carries. He's going to try again. This time he was hit as soon as he got it by Brooks. He only got a yard. We'll make it 2nd and 9 now. The ball on the 39-yard line of Los Angeles. With 1:40 now left in the third period, Minnesota still leads 7-3.
You know, we talked about Fran, but how about Stu Boyd? He makes the darndest catches, you know. He's like a phantom. If you had him try out for your team and didn't know who he was, he might not make the first cut.
Took him 2 or 3 years up here to recognize his talent. Here goes Marinaro in motion. Tarkenton will spread out. He fires outside to Eddie. And Marinello spins down close to the first down. Did not get out of bounds, so the clock will continue to run. Stopped by Ken Geddes.
Now, John, on that sprint out, when Fran runs at that linebacker's side, he's making the guy decide and declare whether he's going to force in case he runs or drop back and cover, right?
Well, in that instance, Tommy, they rolled into a zone, regular type zone, so the halfback was up, the linebacker stays back to the inside, and he just looked for the deep man. If they go to that zone, he just comes up with a little bit of a flare to the safety valve, actually out there to Marinello, who tries to go down the sideline.
3rd and 2 now.
I really think that you limit yourself when you really roll that way.
3rd and 2. Targeted 8 of 18. This will be his 19th attempt. Gilliam is open. He beat Al Clark. He had him one-on-one.
Well, now the thing that Clark forgot was that he had inside help. Elmendorf was inside for him, and Clark takes the outside, but doesn't stay there. And Fran throws a good sidelines. And, John, this is a tough pass to throw. It looks easy, but you really have to throw it a long ways, don't you?
Well, especially from where he was. You really have thrown the ball about 30 yards in order to pick up about 15 yards because the ball has to carry clean across the field. And, you know, Franny doesn't look like he has that strong arm. His ball comes out real fast and all of a sudden just kind of dies on it. But he gets the job done.
Foreman is back in the game. Marinello is out for Foreman and Osborne. Chuck will play at this point. He spins to the outside and down to the 15-yard line.
Ron Yeri and Eddie White cleared out that side. They backed Youngblood and Merlin Olsen off that ball in a hurry.
Fine tackle by Geddes, too. Otherwise, he could have picked up some more yardage.
He got 4. The end of the 3rd quarter with the score. Minnesota 7, Los Angeles 3. Presented on behalf of the National Football League. Best looking drive of the day for the Vikings. They had the ball 2nd and 6, the situation, with the ball on the 14-yard line of Los Angeles.
The Rams will forever remember the long pass to Harold Jackson and 1st and goal, and as you said, they ended up empty-handed.
You can't afford to let those things happen when you're that close to the goal line.
15 more minutes of football left in regulation time in the NFC Championship game. For the right to go to the Super Bowl. Osborne straight ahead. A trap over the middle. Work for 3. Jack Reynolds on the stop.
Good play by Reynolds, though, because actually they trapped the middle linebacker that time as Eddie White, we mentioned a 280-pound guard, was the trapper, and Reynolds just beat him, made a quick move.
12 first downs for both teams. Minnesota has 1 by penalty, 6 by the pass, and 5 by the run. The Rams none by penalty, 7 by the pass, and 5 by the run. Right now it's 3rd and 4. In the opening seconds of period number 4. Roll-out time for Francis. Hit down, trapped. But a flag is down on the play. Parkinson was hit by Dreyer.
Well, they may call Freddie Dreyer offside, but I'll tell you, he made an instantaneous move and took the inside and won. But he could have jumped, and Dreyer is mad about this call. Take a look at this.
And I tell you, it's a good thing that Francis was able to hold on to that football because number 44, Foreman, had 3 defensive men around him.
What's known as your Kentucky offside call by Tommy Bell, and Brett Dreyer is still upset.
Now you can tell who got it and who didn't. Plan looks very calm, right? Now watch the move to the top. Of course, Goodrum can't wait. He's got to go ahead and try to block it even if he's offside early. Look at this move that Dreyer makes to the inside. And John, you think it's a good thing he didn't throw it, huh?
You look downfield, if you can see Foreman, get Foreman in there. Well, he's got 3 men right down in there. You can't see it on the monitor, though.
Ball goes down to the 7-yard line after that penalty. It's a first down Vikings.
And now Freddie Dreyer is hot. We got both defensive ends for the Rams steaming.
It's a good day for steam. About 30 degrees here at the net. Parkinson has first and goal at the 7. His club already leads 7-3. He tries. Jeff Foreman. gotten to the 6, but that's about all.
Well, I have to tell you, the Rams look like they're getting extremely nasty right now, and I think we saw them last week in the 4th period. They just came on defensively and played the Redskins a tremendous quarter of football.
Jack Reynolds led the charge that time to stop Foreman after about a yard. He got some help from safety man Bill Simpson. Rams huddling inside their 5. Ball's at the 6. Foreman did get just 1 yard. 2nd and goal at the 6. Foreman again. He falls and lunges to about the 4.5.
Pat, this is a great example of the new rule change that moved the goalpost to the end line and out of the field of play. Otherwise, right now, with Fran Tarkenton would have that goalpost right in the middle of his formation, either offensively or defensively, and the guys would be having to move around it. It belongs on the back line. Right now, Chuck Knox isn't worried about rules. He's worrying about defense, and he's got a good one.
There's that slingshot goalpost back on the end line now, whereas in years before it would have been a factor in a drive like this. Ball's at the 4. It's 3rd and goal from there. Knocking it straight back this time. Gonna take off. Running away from Merlin Olsen. Close, but not in. He's down at about the 1-inch line. Francis almost got in. Just about that much. No field goal unit.
And the amazing thing, Pat, is that he's averaging almost 6 yards a carry this year. He's got 150 some odd yards rushing. Now let's see how close that ball is to the flag. Remember, he's just got to either hit the flag on the inside or get it over that plane. And the official said he was just short. That's a close call.
Very close call. Clark got him out of bounds. Doug Kingsrider and Grady Alderman have come in to join the others. Jim Lash is out, and John Gilliam is out.
John, was he in or was he out?
I think he was out, Tommy. I don't think he got the ball across that line at all.
They're at about the 1-inch line now.
Right there on the flag.
Minnesota leading 7-3 already. So they had him on point. He got it. Ground level, let's look again. Ozzie goes over the top.
That's right, and all he has to do is break that invisible pane of glass from the goal line straight up. He didn't have much, but he had enough. That could be the biggest touchdown that Osborne has ever scored.
Again.
Look at Reynolds going right through the air to make the tackle. Scoops up there.
Red Cox with Paul Krause holding. Makes it 14-3. We'll return to Metropolitan Stadium after this word from your local stadium. With John Unitas and Tom Brookshire, this is Pat Summerall. Minnesota on a 1-yard plunge by Dave Osborne just went ahead, 14-3. Brett Cox kicked it off. Cullen Bryant will field it at the 10. He gets a couple of feet, gets out to the 34-yard line before he's hit down and hit down very hard.
Pat, we've got to make a point right now. The Vikings lead the league in passes thrown for touchdowns, only 8. So if they're going to catch up, the Rams, it's going to be done the tough way throwing it.
They're going to have to throw the football.
On Sunday, January 5th, the NBA returns on CBS with a great schedule of games every weekend through the playoffs. On January 5th, the Chicago Bulls beat the Milwaukee Bucks at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. The Los Angeles Rams have 12 minutes and 19 seconds to catch up. They trail by 11. It's 14-3 Minnesota. Harris fires to Bob Klein. He is hard to get down. Wrestling with Roy Winston, he finally does go down.
And super action on the reverse roll after the fake really clears the tight end who can sort of die there for a count or two, right, John?
Right, the linebackers go with the play action. Of course, he's coming back against the grain. And the weak side linebacker, he cuts right in front of Roy Winston and makes the reception. I believe that's the first pass that's been thrown to Klein all afternoon, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, he is tough to get on, isn't he?
That's his first reception. It's the first down, Los Angeles. The ball at the 45, at their own 45. Capoletti plunges to the right side behind Williams and Chiavelli. Stopped by Carl Eller.
And Tommy Mack, the pulling guard, pulls through there again cleanly, as Eller is having a lot of trouble with Williams on the running plays, I'll tell you that.
John Williams is a big, strong tackle out there, and he's able to handle those guys if he has the strength. He has been a little bit lax at times whenever he gets up a man who is real, real quick, and the man seems to be able to get around him.
2nd and 5. Midfield. Perhaps he got a yard before he was stopped by Jeff Seaman.
Now this brings up a point. If you're a run-oriented team, and the Rams have run like 6 out of 10 plays all year, is it easy, John, to turn it around and say, now we're going to have to throw it every play, or do you go with the pattern that stopped you where you are?
Well, I think that you have to throw the football to loosen them up. They haven't been doing that much on the ground all afternoon. McCutcheon hasn't been doing Osborne, but Burleson has been doing mostly most of the damage to the Vikings. You're going to have to throw that football because they do have a good, strong defensive line.
Here's James Harris with 3rd and 5 now. Going to throw it now. Hayes almost got away. Harris throws outside to Capoletti. He hung on.
Good catch.
Fine catch.
A bent leg slide. Here's a guy that won the Heisman, the Maxwell, and everything, and really captures, I think, this nation's heart when he talked about his younger brother. That young man right there, Capoletti, is quite a person.
9:56 left, just under 10 minutes for the Rams to go to work.
And don't forget that little man that we saw go 73 and not score, Harold Jackson.
I'd forgotten that he was shaken up just a little bit on that long play, but he's back in the game now, and he comes wide to the left side with Jack Snow going right. Capoletti and McCutcheon are the 2 setbacks. Harris takes the golf way. He fires for Jackson. He's got it. He's going to score this time. There he is, the road runner. Perfect pass from James Harris. What a strike he laid out there then. John, show us how it happened.
Right here you see Jackson's going to be going pretty soon. This man comes up and tries to bump him to the inside, which is exactly what he wants him to do, as you see right here. Now everything else is cleared out. As you see the receiver coming down here, clearing it out, opening it up for Jackson, who picks the pass off from Harris, and then it's just a road race from then on.
Boy, that's what do it. And they were rolling that way, weren't they?
Now, did exactly what they wanted them to. They can let him get to the inside.
Harris stayed in there, had pretty good pass protection.
Yes,
Get the rush, huh?
Best thing you can do when you get in a race with a guy like Harold Jackson is fall down, so you won't be embarrassed.
Fall under somebody.
Yeah. Here's David Ray with the all-important extra point. Good. Somebody got a finger on it, but it still went through.
And they did it the hard way that night, Tommy. We mentioned that only 8 passes have been thrown against the Vikings for touchdown, and there's number 9.
Well, I'll tell you, the speed, though, of Harold Jackson, as we've said, a 4.340 doesn't sound like much, but a 4.340 is about a 9.4 100, which you don't run much in football. Here it is. Now watch Harris, and you're going to see a blur go through that almost defies our instant replay. Look at this.
Jackson breaks that last tackle attempt by Jeff Wright and makes it close again, 14-10. Took the Rams just 5 plays to snap back into this game. James Harris now 12 of 21 for 204 yards. A good day for the big quarterback. David Ray approaches the ball. He'll kick to McClanahan and McCullum. McCullum, he can go. He gets out to the 34-yard line before he's stopped by the Rams' kickoff coverage. And the Vikings will take it over there. They lead 14-10 with 9 minutes and 18 seconds left in this football game. Rich Saul, as he does so often, leading the charge on that tackle.
Now it's defense time for the Rams, and that is not exactly an uninspired unit right now. They're all mad for one reason or another. That's not good news.
Marketed has 1st and 10. Ball at the Minnesota 33. Pullman and Osborne are the running backs. And this is Osborne. And he's equal to the occasion this time. Dave Elmendorf came up from his safety spot to help out. On New Year's Day, Wednesday, January the 1st, CBS will bring you the Cotton Bowl game from Dallas with Penn State. The winner of the Lambert Trophy is the best team in the East, meeting Southwest Conference champion Baylor.
First time the Bars have ever been in that city on January 1st, right?
First appearance. Texas had a 15-year lease, I think, in the Cotton Bowl, but it's going to be Penn State and Baylor. On CBS January 1st at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. 2nd and 8 for Minnesota. Foreman stopped this time effectively by Merlin Olsen.
Well, this will be some situation. There's still a lot of time left in the football game, and the Vikings, of course, are thinking to chew it up with some running plays, but they've got to get a first down, and Frank's going to have to put it up again.
Right here, it looks like. It's 3rd and 5. Clock still running now, 8 minutes and 10 seconds exactly. Linebacker Jim Peterson receiving a little help. Moran throwing it. 3rd and 5. Big first down attempt here by Minnesota. Rocketed straight back. He fires. There's a flag down. Foreman is loose in the secondary, but there's a flag down. Back at the 30-yard line, the Vikings might be called for holding.
They're going to call, I believe, Goodrum, the big left tackle that was working on Freddie Dreyer. No, it was Ron Yeri. He was holding on Jack Youngblood.
You heard the call of number 73 from Tommy Bell again, and Chuck Foreman looks like he might be a little shaken after that last play. Let's look at it again.
All right, we're from behind the Ram rush now. You can see Reynolds moving over. We may not see the holding on this. All we're going to see is the execution of the good play, and of course Foreman has no idea that Ron Yeri has half a Youngblood shirt in his hand.
Foreman beat one of those real good linebackers, and Isaiah Robertson there. It seemed like he was just stopped in his tracks. It's all for nothing.
And Isaiah can run, too.
Showed us that last week. That run against the Redskins by linebacker Isaiah Robertson was one of the best I've seen this year. Here's the indication by Tommy Bell. It is 3rd down and about 15 for the Vikings. Clutch situation right now.
Boy, they were in that huddle a long time, John. Something's cooking.
Keep your eye on good old Steve Voigt, number 83. This is when he pops up in situations like this. 3-man rush from the Rams. Knocking him straight back. Isaiah almost got him. Youngblood did. What a big play that is for Los Angeles. Tarkenton back inside the 15. And from there, Mike Eichard will have to punt.
They came at that Wham blitz from the outside, and I believe Isaiah broke in without anybody laying a finger on him. Let's see if Dreyer moves to the outside and allows him room. Nope, Isaiah went to the outside and beat Osborne's block cleanly.
Well, Osborne took the outside position on him, leave himself wide open to the inside. Actually tried to get position, and Robertson says, I'm coming through up the middle.
Mike Eichard standing right on the goal line. And deep to the Rams, Cullen Bryant is one. Rob Sittner, I believe, the other. Eichard hangs it high. Bryant will handle it at his own 45 and bangs straight ahead. Inside Minnesota territory, the Rams will take it over. This looks like a repeat of last week's game. But right now, the situation is this. 7 minutes and 15 seconds left to play. The score is Minnesota 14, the Rams 10. Tarkenton and Bud Grant. Grant never looks nervous, but Grant does a little bit right now.
Well, the Rams' big scoring period has been the 4th period all year long, Pat.
They have about half of this one left, too. 7 minutes and 15 seconds left in the 4th period. 14-10, Minnesota lead. 1st and 10 for the Rams at the Viking 45. Here's the run. McCutcheon straight ahead for not much. Hit down by Alan Page and Doug Sutherland.
They tried a little misdirection then, acting like they were going to sweep with the thing and pull the false trap, pull Schiavelli and Mack and ran in there. And those guys have been around playing the middle of that line, too.
Comes a different-looking formation for the Rams. Bob Klein goes out, the tight end, and they have the 3 wide receivers. Retzel, Snow, and Jackson all in the game. Briscoe and Snow on the same side. Jackson alone out of your picture at the moment on the left side. Harris goes back. Here it comes. Oh. Put on a rush.
Woo! Boy, did he get it. They came out that 5-man line, and I'll tell you, 4 of the 5 all made contact. Marshall and Lurcham, I think, got there early. Take a look at a 5-man rush. Hyman misses Alan Page. McCutcheon takes him, but here comes Marshall. Lurcham is looking for somebody already, and Sutherland, the flasher, is also involved.
And Harrison looking for a hole to crawl in. What he's looking for. They're all loose that time. Jim Marshall, the leader. That's a big play for him. That's going to help. That makes it 3rd and 20. James Harris, very casually, comes up under center. Same offensive setup and same defensive setup. 5 rushes. Here they come again. Brad Sutherland and Carl Eller. Well, that's what you call going the wrong way.
Yeah, the defensive line. Let's take a look at it now and see what happens. Here's Harris. Sutherland will be to the right part of your screen. He just runs over the top of Williams, the tackle. No, make that Schiavelli, I'm sorry. And I guess James Harris is the one that's really sorry.
Oh, so the Ram punting unit is forced to come on. It's 4th and 37.
You don't think this is a together Viking team, do you? They're all over there enjoying that one.
4th and 37, and Mike Burke is in the game. Both teams, if you're looking ahead just a little bit, have all 3 of their timeouts left. Clock is running with 5:50 remaining 4th period. And it's still a lead 5-4. Burke and good-looking punt. And McConnell fields it. He got back to the 30 before Jim Youngblood. 45. And after 2 sacks by a tremendous rush by the Minnesota line, the Vikings have it back at their own 30. 5:37 left, 4th period. Clock is not running yet, won't run until they snap it.
I wonder if we get a first down pass out of Fran to try to get the first down.
Ball's at their own 30. To Foreman. Ball is loose. Clark had a shot at it. The Vikings got it back. Chuck Goodrum made the recovery.
Oh,
Boy, that's an elusive pigskin will run around back out there.
again, we talked about Foreman also carries the ball, the hog bladder rather carelessly. He comes through the hole. It'll stop straight out here now. Boom. Now, Clark, 44, should have just gotten over the ball and tried to wrap around it. He tried to catch it, and the tackle falls on it. It's the first time that Sutherland's seen the football, or Goodrum, in a long, long time, right? They don't exactly throw it around for practice.
They got a first down. What looked like disaster turned out to be a break for Minnesota. They're inside Ram territory. Osborne tries to go ahead, but gets very little, maybe a yard. 4:35 left now. Stopped by Jack Reynolds.
One thing about Foreman, when he fumbles it ahead. It's almost as good as a short punt.
Yeah, I would think Fanny would start trying to run wide a little bit, use up that clock a little bit more than what he has. It's still running at this time, but seems like the breaks have just been going against the Rams all afternoon. Of course, Minnesota's been ready to take advantage of every one of them.
2nd and 9. By the time they snap the ball, there'll be 4 minutes left. Straight ahead is Foreman again. Hang on, Chuck. Those are probably the words that Fran Tarkenton gave to him in the huddle just a second ago. Now less than 4.
I'm not going to give it to you unless you bring it back, right?
And you got to promise. It'll be 3rd and 7, and again, that passing situation coming up here. Ball is at the Ram 45, out of range of field goal by Fred Cox. Rams put in an extra defensive back. 3:25 left. The book on Tarkenton. Straight back goes Francis. It has to be Stu Boyd underneath, and a flag goes down.
He caught the ball anyway, and 43 was riding him like Garrison rides Brahma Bulls, right?
He had a charger for a trolley ride. He put the money in box.
I'll tell you, that time the Rams blitzed out of that, and the Vikings really picked it up extremely well.
42! That catch by Stu Boyd was good enough to first down. A penalty is called against Elmendorf. It's declined. And Stu Boyd got it.
Let's take a look at the Phantom again. Stu Boyd. Now, Elmendorf's already riding him. He's got the legs around him and everything at this stage. And Boyd still catches it.
Very important first down for the Vikings now with 3:15 left. They still lead 14-10. They have been to the Super Bowl twice already. They've lost both times. Foreman will take it straight ahead and run into a big mass of Rams. There's quarterback James Harris on the phone to the press box getting some information about the Minnesota secondary. They need the football right now. The clock is still running under 3 minutes.
I hope he wasn't calling the airport.
I don't imagine he was. 2:40 left. 2nd and 8 for the Vikings. Dave Osborne cuts into the secondary. Sanders pursues down inside the 30. Bounces to about the 28, but they'll mark it just on the Viking side of the 30.
You know, you've heard about Foreman being the leading receiver, the leading rusher, and that time his block on Youngblood allowed Osborne to get down close to the first down. Chuck Foreman right now might do everything about as well as any back in football. There he is right there. He just made a heck of a block on Youngblood. And that's not a tough, that's a tough angle block, John, right, to come out?
It is tough angle because Youngblood is to the outside, and what you're trying to do is probably take him back to the inside. He takes outside, and Osborne, of course, reads the block, breaks back inside of Foreman's block, and then, of course, the pursuit picks him up there.
The Rams have taken one of their 3 allotted timeouts, so they just have 2 left now. Of course, the 2-minute warning is coming up, so that'll stop the clock for them.
I've got a question, too, for Unitas. How come Fran Tarkenton, after 14 years, still looks like he's in the pass, front, and kick competition, and you and I look like we do, John? Something's wrong with you. We show some age on that. Look at Fran. He doesn't have a mark on him, right?
Well, Franny runs around back there. When he sees somebody coming, he crawls into a hole. I guess we're just dumb to stand up and let him hit on us.
CBS will be bringing you the NBA All-Star Game on Tuesday, January the 14th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time from Phoenix, Arizona. All of the top players in the league will compete as the East faces the West on CBS.
How do you vote for that deal? Just go to some place to...
You can vote at any NBA arena.
I'm voting for Wilt Chamberlain again.
You're going to vote for Wilt, huh?
Yes, sir. I still like to watch him play basketball, even if he's not playing anymore.
Maybe he'll put on a foul shooting exhibition at the half. 3rd and 1, the situation now with 2 minutes and 11 seconds left. In the 4th period of this football game, the Rams just used the first of their 3 timeouts. Osborne has carried the ball 19 times for 73 yards. Foreman 18 times for 70 yards. They are the 2 setbacks now. Foreman over the top, leaps and jackknife for the first down.
Oh, you talk about humanity stacked in. That was just head-to-head leather popping there. That's all that was. Nothing fancy and nothing cute.
They just beating each other up down there. Good play by the Rams, of course, and then the other one were over top for the needed first down. Big play for them.
Ford.
Tom Brookshire has departed the booth and headed for the winning locker room, where he'll be interviewing winning players and coaches after the game is over. 1st and 10, Minnesota at the 27. Straight ahead is Chuck Foreman. Got some good tough yards.
He's really running with a lot of authority out there now, Pat. You know, you see that clock, 150 going now. They have to maintain control of the football and to guard it with both hands.
Larry Brooks and Jack Reynolds on the stop that time. There is your situation. Minnesota leads at 14-10. And the Rams burn another timeout. They only have one left now. First and goal, or second and goal it was, at about the half-inch line. And they had an illegal procedure penalty called against them.
Yeah, those things really hurt you. They were real crucial plays for them.
There's Chuck Knox. No reason to hang your head, Chuck. You and your team have been outstanding. Second and 5. Here's Foreman spinning down inside the 20. He spun around back to the line of scrimmage. I don't know how he knew where he was.
I think maybe he didn't want to give them a shot at that football. Looked like he kind of backed into the line of scrimmage there and hoped that they'd hit him in the back, but without hitting the ball.
Clock is stopped now with 1:40 left, and now the Rams have taken their last timeout. I think I'd have to say right now it looks like a tough challenge for Los Angeles.
Well, they've got to pick up this first down. If they got, of course, have two downs to do it in, but they have to pick it up. Otherwise, Los Angeles has a chance, you know, to come back. Or if they go for the field goal, they're at least short of a tie if LA has to go back with a long bomb.
Tommy Bell has called the chain gang out to measure this, to see actually how much the Vikings need for that first down. Fran Tarkin ended up checking things over. John Gilliam goes over to the sideline to talk to Bud Grant, and now Francis goes. See how much they need. Chain must have a kink in it. It's a good long yard at least.
Well, they got 2 downs out of that.
If they don't make anything on this down, you think they'll field goal or still try?
Well, I would have to think they'd go for the field goal.
I would think so.
That puts, if you make it, that puts 17, and LA comes back if they happen to go for the long bomb and catch it. It's still tied up and go into overtime period.
Right. Here comes Francis back. Rams made it to the playoffs last year. Lost in the first round to Dallas. Last week's victory in the playoffs over Washington was their first since 1951. Isaiah Robertson looking on. Here's the stacked up Minnesota offense now on 3rd and 1. Foreman. I don't believe he got it. We'll stop the clock now while they unstack. That took 4 seconds now to 1:36 seconds now. 14-10 Minnesota. The Vikings got a 1-yard plunge from Dave Osborne for 1 touchdown. And they got a touchdown pass of 29 yards from Tarkenton to Jim Lash for the other. And now what? Looks like Bud Grant wants to go for it, although I see that Fred Cox has got his warm-up jacket off on the sideline. Grant giving that gum a pretty good workout right now. It's a long 2 feet, I'd say. Tommy Bell grabs the chain, make sure he doesn't make any mistake. Tarkenton wants to go over and talk it over. Fred Cox right there. They're going to go for it.
Well, if they don't make it, they at least give them the ball inside the 20. But that doesn't really make that much difference. Harris got to come out and start throwing that football.
And keep in mind, if they don't make it, the Rams do not have any timeouts left.
That's right. So we've got to go to that short stuff, sidelines, and hope they get the backs out of bounds in order to stop that clock. And hope that long ball.
Osborne and Foreman are the setback on 3rd and about 2 feet. Tarkenton is going to do it himself. And he does, I believe. It is very, very close. Osborne is signaling he made it, but no indication as yet from the officials.
There you see Franny Rowan coming right down the line, not getting too deep, staying right behind Osborne and breaking back to the inside and lowering the head, trying to get the first down and get the body and ball extended out there.
He is very close. This could be, well, if they made this first down, they can run out the clock. That's right. They got it.
Ball over now. As long as they don't fumble.
As long as they don't fumble, Minnesota will get another crack at the Super Bowl.
And he can take all 30 seconds, take the ball and just fall down and let the clock continue to run on every one of them. That'll be it.
Tarkenton got it by about a foot.
Without risking the chance of a punt, but just take it and fall down on the ground.
still ticking away, and now the Vikings take their time. It's all she wrote. Your NFC champions are the Minnesota Vikings. And they'll face the winner of the Pittsburgh-Oakland game later this afternoon. Don't forget, stick with us. Health fight. Tom Brookshire will be in the winning locker room, and that will be the Minnesota Vikings. Jack Whitaker hopefully will get a word from Chuck Knox on our post-game show. The Vikes will let it run out. Fans now pouring onto the field. Down at 12 seconds. There won't be any more plays in this season for the Los Angeles Rams. Run, Francis. Run. It's one of his better scrambles. Vikings fans have swarmed the field. The Met is a madhouse. I think Francis and Youngblood had a few words out there. Francis want to get off that field before Youngblood took out after. I don't blame him. There is two-cut Bud Grant headed for the locker room, fighting his way through the crowd. He has done a great job.